Hello, this is Chala Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. I'm here live with another episode of my podcast. I don't know. I thought I heard something, but anyway, that's not us, right? Okay, good. So it's my podcast, Naked Marketing, and I have here my new guest, Dr. Brian Russell, but he didn't want me to call him doctor, but I'm calling him doctor because I don't get to talk to a lot of doctors, although you are the second doctor I spoke to today.
Oh, that's good.
Wonderful. I know, doctors are us. It's amazing. Now, what are you a doctor in?
Well, I have my PhD in ancient Near Eastern languages and literature, which makes me a professor of biblical studies in the past. But so that's what my doctorate's actually, and that's why I don't always go by it, because I always say I'm a doctor. I know a lot, but I'm not a medical doctor.
Oh my God, that's like the mummy, right?
Well, yeah, I actually did. I did a whole exam on, not that your listeners are going to be interested, but in late Bronze Age Egypt. So yeah, we did all the stuff with that, and I know a lot about the Old Testament and in the Bible, essentially, in the literature and the time period when it was written. That's what the doctorate was in.
Now I'm really interested in what you do for a living.
Yeah.
So tell our viewers and listeners, what is it that you do and who you help?
Well, I do a couple different things. Like I'm on this podcast as I'm a coach, and I do business consulting and coaching for small businesses and entrepreneurs, including people that are, I would say, spiritually minded entrepreneurs. I can work with anybody, but I do end up serving people that are interested in some levels of spirituality, because I do a lot of my coaching applies really ancient practices into the modern world to help people deal with stress and guilt and clear their minds so that they can actually be their very best and thrive and be good people in the process of, expanding their businesses and influencing people and being good leaders and things like that. And then I am still presently, I'm a full professor of biblical studies. So I do that as well. But professor jobs are actually kind of easy. So, we get to, so other than grading papers, there's lots of time. And so, I have a lot of, so my real passion now is the coaching piece, but I've been a professor for 23 years.
Oh my God. Do people know what you do?
What do you mean?
Students know that you're a coach and do your coaching.
Yeah. Because I actually, I offer my coaching to my students for free as an add-on to the class. And that helps me be a better professor, because I actually help them deal with time management and all the different things that coaches do. And, again, most of my students are going to be pastors, and pastors are pretty stressed out and they have a lot of pressures on them. So I actually teach, I got into coaching by actually working with my students to help them to open up their lives and to learn how to thrive and flourish, because most of my students are second career people. So I work with people of all ages. It's not like I'm just working with 18-year-olds. I teach in a graduate school, so everybody at least has a bachelor's degree before they come, and it could be anywhere from 22 literally to 70. So I just really help people that are super busy trying to do their graduate degrees to thrive. And I learned a lot of the things that I found help entrepreneurs, from helping super stressed out students to actually be able to think about taking hard classes, take action, set goals, all those kind of things that we do as coaches as well.
I imagine that you spend most of your time talking to really, really nice people.
Yeah, I do. And it's great. And yeah. Well, in the reality, that is true. I talk to pastors who are really nice people, but one of the things that I always try to tell folks, because a lot of times entrepreneurs get a bad rap, but everybody I talk to is a really nice person, whether they're pastors or just, like a State Farm agent. I work with insurance agents. I work with, different small business owners. Everybody I meet, super generous, super nice. And so, I love what I do.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with you. That's what Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, that when you go somewhere and they say, the people in, Memphis are so nice, or the people in Texas are so nice. It's about who you are, really, isn't it? But that's,
yeah. I love Wayne Dyer. I remember that story exactly when he told that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, you would know who he is for sure. Okay. So let's talk business. This is a marketing show, after all. It's called Naked Marketing, where we're going to get honest. So how long have you had the business, the consulting side?
Yeah, I've had the business for 3.5 years, though. And in some ways I've been doing it for all these years, but I've been actually charging for my services for 3.5 years.
Okay. And you're now targeting entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I work with small business owners. and they can be solopreneurs, or they can just, have, I do really well helping small business owners to actually increase their cash flow and their quality of life by helping them to train the folks that work with them to be a really a smooth, efficient machine. We try to say, let's turn the staff into little mini owners. So then that frees the actual owner up to actually do the things that they're the best at and to find a higher quality of life, which is why most people go into business. We don't go into business to work 70 hours and be trapped. We go into business because we want freedom.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you decide to have your own business?
It's always been a dream. And I've always admired people that had their own businesses. And I've always wanted to be, as I've gotten older, I still enjoy teaching, but what I found is my better skill set was actually helping folks to be motivated, to solve problems and to get things done. And I noticed people were coming to me for help in those areas. And so in a sense, it's just a natural outflow of, and in some ways I even consider it a ministry, if I don't want to, make it like I'm a pastor just working with folks, but I love people. I love helping people. And to me, it's a commitment to humanity, to help people to thrive and be at their best. So that's why I got into this. And that's my passion behind all the coaching.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like you would have zero marketing and sales experience through teaching pastors for 23 years. So how are you getting clients? What is your marketing funnel?
Yeah, my marketing funnel essentially is just inviting what I consider powerful people to have powerful conversations with me. And then I just show up and coach them just like they were paying me $10,000, which, by the way, that's not my fee, but I just pretend like somebody's giving me this huge amount of money and I deliver when we meet. And then usually if I do a good enough job, and if the person really wants to go forward, that's actually how I work. I just do it one person at a time. I mean, I do some limited marketing, like I coach pastors too. And so that comes out of my, my networks, because a lot of them have been my former students. But as far as entrepreneurs, we do have a newsletter that we get to, but most of my coaching just shows up by having conversations with really powerful people. And, then through networking and LinkedIn and such, I meet people and I just serve them and I let the chips fall where they may. And that gets me clients.
That's amazing. So do you do any outreach?
Yeah, I use social media. So I put a post for the business stuff up on LinkedIn just so people can see it, and have a pretty large LinkedIn body. But I haven't paid to actually run programs for marketing. Because again, I need as I grow the business, I'm probably looking to that. But so far it's essentially been word of mouth and referrals for me.
Right. So you really aren't needing and aren't getting from cold outreach. It's more people who already know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, I build relationships. I shoot notes once in a while, invite people in to have conversations. So I will reach out to somebody I don't know, but it's not, it's just small amounts. Cause again, as a coach, I only have X number of slots available anyway. So
yeah, exactly. My gosh. So you barely have enough time just for the few that you're already getting. So growth is kind of not your number one,
Yeah. Long term, I'd like to continue to build a business. And if I would go into like group coaching, I use group coaching with pastors, but with entrepreneurs, it's all one-on-one stuff. And so if I would build a group coaching program, I probably would market a little bit differently. But right now I just specialize in the one-on-one. And again, I'm on your show because I'm trying to get the word out. So I do like to go on podcasts and just talk and meet people and just make friendships. That's how I've done the marketing, by building friendships, being myself, being positive, and being impeccable about my word, and over delivering whenever I get the opportunity.
That sounds amazing. So let's talk about your mistake.
Yeah.
Your marketing mistake. You had said that it's waiting to develop the full program before selling it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, and this gets back to the question, like you kind of even called it. It's like, how does a guy that's a professor learn how to do the marketing stuff? And the thing that I've had to overcome in my own life is, most professors, I'll make fun of myself, we all think we're smarter than everybody else. And so we think, and then it's always control, because you got all these books. Like those who are watching, this is just a little piece. I got thousands of books I read all the time. And so we think we have to do all this research and lay out a whole plan. And that'll keep you and prevent you from thriving and moving forward. And so what I've learned, and a lot of this was, again, I've had really great mentors. I've always been interested in entrepreneurship Harvard Business Review. I've been studying those things for a long time. And so my early mistake was I had to literally have like 3 months of coaching planned out before I even started with my first appointments. And what I realized that I needed to do was not being afraid to mess up, having a reasonable plan, and just taking action. And this is the inner noise part, is not worrying about how nervous I felt or if I felt like I was going to be an imposter. So that was my marketing mistake, waiting to get a plan before I even started, because what you also find out, my original plan, it needed to be adjusted anyway. So now I just kind of like, one of my favorite coaches is a guy named Dan Sullivan. I think you're up in Canada. I think he's even in Toronto. He's got that strategic coach. And, one of my favorite quotes from Sullivan is he always says, there's no better motivation than nothing, than no other option. And so it's all one of those pieces is just, make the promise, and then show up, and then absolutely deliver. And if there's an issue, I fix it. And I don't have any problems apologizing. And, if I feel like I don't serve somebody as well as I want to, I'll actually go back and call them back up. We'll do another session. So that's what I've done. And, by this time I have I've done enough. I haven't actually kept track, but I think I'm like at 600 hours of coaching over the last few years. So I've talked to a lot of people, and it's just like in the confidence I had from being a speaker, because I've done tons of public speaking. I've made lots of videos. I've taught thousands of people. And so the people thing's easy. So I just needed to get some confidence in the setting. And, so that was my mistake, kind of waiting before taking action.
Yes. So are you a certified coach? Are you getting certified? Because you talked about.
Yeah, am I certified? I haven't gone through like ICF or things, though I've thought about it. I've been trained. My own coach is fully certified in those things. So in a sense, I've got it. And I actually have done NLP training with like Richard Bandler and the originator of the NLP. So I have my little certificate from his organization. But a lot of it came essentially just from, I'm a pastor also. I've been ordained pastor. So I serve 3 churches, and I have all the training that goes with being a pastor, which involves counseling, leadership classes beyond just the biblical study stuff. So in a sense, my credentialing isn't technically a certified coach, but I've been doing it since I served my first church in 1993. So it's been a long time. So I've been serving people and counseling and doing all the stuff that a pastor did for all those years. And I found that it essentially translates really well to business.
Yeah, I think you have a unique positioning as a pastor who teaches selling. If you could get into that, I think that would be such a unique positioning. Of course, you would have to test it. I would never recommend a positioning without testing it. But the reason why I asked about the certification is because I became an ICF certified coach because I believed, like you did, that I needed to have certain things before I could actually get clients to pay me the kind of money that I wanted after working for 18 years for Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay. And I went out and I worked so hard and spent all the money and got the ICF certification. And then of course, nobody came because there were like hundreds, thousands of us out there. And and then I started to teach them how to market. That's because I did marketing in all those companies. So one of the biggest mistakes that I always saw with coaches was waiting to form the program, writing the program or the book or whatever it was before going out and selling it. And then the other one was getting more certifications, just getting more letters behind their name, more letters, more training. And it never made them more confident in having a business or selling what they were doing. So thank you for talking about a very important mistake that a lot of new businesses make, and especially coaches. Because they're in that, very academia, right? They're same with therapists. God, when I went to sell to therapists, they were all over me about my book, right? Everybody wanted a book. But as soon as I said the word sales, they would run the other way. So it's and I can't even imagine biblical, like pastors talking about sales. It's almost like doctors, right? It's sacrosanct to talk about sales and the kind of thing that you're supposed to be giving for free because God gave you that, ability, right?
Yeah, and the thing about it, obviously, is the pastor training was super helpful for, you've kind of alluded to that. Is that it did give me the soft skills, and even on the selling stuff. Like I work also with a group called Awake Coaching and Consulting. That's not my business, but I get some clients through them. And the guy that founded there was also a pastor, and he told me like 20 years ago when he moved out of the church, he literally took all his notes from seminary, every leadership class he did, and he just turned it in to his coaching program. And that's not to be cynical about the religion stuff at all, but the reality is, if you're in a people-centered profession, and that is what ministry is, regardless of, I think everybody, whether they're believe in God or not, can agree that a pastor is about serving people. And you can take those skills and they're completely transferable to business or anything. And in fact, if you just think that, our goal as a pastor is just to help people to grow in love for God, love for neighbor, and love for themselves, most entrepreneurs need that kind of confidence. And if you just serve people powerfully, that is what business is. And then there's no problem with the money at that point, because if you're delivering real value to a person and you're helping to create for them the future that they want, I mean, that's basically priceless at some level, right? And the people are usually happy to pay at that point too, because you've given them what they really want and you help them to achieve their goals. And then at some level, then whatever we charge is actually, it's kind of like a sale almost. It's cheap because you give somebody their future. It's priceless.
It is. It's so great. What I love as a positioning expert about, what you're doing is that, especially if you were to niche in selling, you're on the complete opposite to the two things that you do are on the complete opposite ends of the trust spectrum when, they've done research, and the number one trusted profession obviously is, being a pastor is I think it's a teacher and a nurse, but being a pastor is very high up. And then the lowest is politician, and above that is selling and marketing. So, I mean, even if you teach how to sell, or even if you just market yourself and sell yourself, there is such a dichotomy in that positioning that I think it serves you so well, because people are trained to mistrust sales, and yet you're a pastor. How could they not trust you, right? So It's like programmed into your DNA. And if I was your marketer, I'd have a field day with that. Definitely.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Definitely go to town with that for sure. I mean, who wouldn't trust a pastor, right? And there's so many coaches.
No, that's right. And the other thing I've actually found, I mean, and the last year has been really helpful for my business is I bring in these, I teach meditation, and I have a book coming out on basically meditation. It's a Christian form of meditation called Centering Prayer, but the journaling practice I teach my clients and the meditation practices are both deeply rooted in the Christian faith. It doesn't mean you have to be a Christian to use them, but I've been able to bring tools that help to quiet the noise. Because I mean, you've seen this, everybody completely freaked. I mean, for good reason. This whole COVID thing has just been so stressful because it just, not that we've ever had security, but it feels like you have no security. You don't know what your businesses have to shift, and the kind of mindset and the spirituality that I bring into the coaching has helped it quiets the mind, so then you can actually focus to serve and to make the shifts that you need without just being panicking and being stuck with fear and the guilt and the shame that comes with sometimes feeling like you're failing in your business or whatever.
That's great. That is great. I mean, everything you're saying is like taking the tools that you've known and learned for a whole lifetime and then applying it to a whole new audience, but with that credibility. It's great positioning.
Well, thank you.
So Brian, in parting, what advice do you have in marketing for our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, I just, in terms of marketing, and again, and you've already heard that I'm not like going on doing this wide net thing, but I just think the key thing to marketing for me is showing up, being exactly what you appear to be, being transparent, working enough on yourself that there's no disconnect between, who you are publicly and how you market yourself and who you actually are when somebody meets you. That's so important. And then just focus enough on yourself that when you're with another person, you can be 100% present for the person that you're trying to serve. And if you do that, the selling part's actually pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good advice. Thank you so much. How could people reach you?
Yeah. If you'd like to reach out to me, my website is drbrianrussellcoaching.com. And if you're interested in learning about my meditation practice, you can go to centeringprayerbook.com and you can sign up and I'll give you some information about how to do that. But those would be the two best ways. And obviously you can find me on LinkedIn and stuff too.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's so great to meet you. And thank you for the real privilege and opportunity to meet you today and to share with the audience.
My pleasure.